if it's one thing that I learned, it's that thoughts, they're really intrusive at times. And even though they may be the most horrible thing or that we think about, like, it's inevitable that we're going to judge people and we're going to have thoughts pop up in our brain, even though, like, whoa, where the heck did this come from, right? We didn't ask for this. And not only that we didn't ask for it, that means we didn't intentionally want them to pop up. So, some people say that you are what you think, and that in some case is true, but it isn't true in another aspect. And I'm going to touch on the fact that the part that isn't true. So, you know how people just think like really negative thoughts at sometimes because they spiral and they're really much in deep stress, right? And it comes up randomly and sporadically. So, considering that the fact, sometimes we like gravitate towards thinking of it over and over again. But at times, when they come up just out of nowhere, that isn't what you asked for, right? You want those thoughts. It's not like you decided to identify yourself as that all the time. But sometimes, people can use it to their power if they really wanted to believe it, like positive things. We use our thoughts to shape, like if we're imagining we want to become a, I don't know, celebrity or whatever, a YouTuber, or we're that person who is in this specific job because we deserve it. Yeah, once we start thinking in that way, in that mindset, then we become actually what we think. But really, most of the times, if those thoughts popped up all the time and they actually created ourselves every single time, that doesn't really happen. It doesn't happen like automatically unless you really rely on it and you actually, you lean towards that all the time. You're always prone to thinking those thoughts. But sometimes when you think them, you actually don't want them there, and those things, they don't automatically manifest, right? Like negative things, because we're thinking a million thoughts. I don't know how many thoughts we think in a day. I think there's an actual number for it on, like, if you look it up in your search engine, whatever. I don't know, but I don't know if that's true. But we think all these negative things, and we don't have to associate ourselves with that all the time, right? Because it's inevitable that we might think of judging another person or judging ourselves, or being like, hey, do I look good enough, or is someone just gonna keep bothering or nagging me like that? And in some sense, if you rely on thinking that way too much, then maybe it does manifest in your reality. But I want you to think that those aren't you, right? It's just the brain processing so many things on a mental basis. It's half true, but that other half, we don't have to associate ourselves with those thoughts, because if you have a mental disorder, you want that mental disorder, right? I'm not saying you can't have it and you need like some sort of help to deal with it, but people like to, they feel like they're only that mental disorder, and they just don't feel like they can't be the normal person. But really, you really aren't that mental disorder in a way, because you are you, right? You decide and define what you want to be in some way, and you feel like defining yourself with a different attitude because you deserve it, right? I think anyone deserves to think that they can be something that they're better, right? So don't always think that your thoughts are you, unless you want to imagine a scenario and you use it to help you craft your reality or whatever. But if it's something negative, then that's not always you, because we have a million thoughts spanning, and I don't know how many at a pace that some people just can't control. And that really made me think, like, I have to sit with my thoughts and realize, am I really this? Am I really what I say I think? And then you can change that thought pattern and actually believe that's the time when your thoughts should be you, because you want that to be you. You want to be the positive person that you want to be, right? So it goes to show that you should remind yourself that we're always thinking. Sometimes there's a pace at which our thoughts run, and we can't always catch up with it, or we can't always face it. Like, we can't deal with it face front. But once you deal with them, hey, you realize, I didn't want this. I didn't really want to deal with the negative thoughts, and you wanted to look more into a positive outlet or something. So just take this as a reminder, and I really hope things are looking good for you guys. But stay tuned for my next videos. Peace.